All right, well, she's heated up, so I'm about to hit the road.
You safe?
Yep, I'll be back.
I want to hear this thing. Woo.
What is up, internet? Welcome back to the channel here at the gas station. Screaming gas pump. Gas at $5.18 a gallon, which is still a lot cheaper than some other places, but ridiculous either way. And I'm not gonna get into the politics of gas prices, but this is stupid. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Come on, man, you've been red forever. Let's go. Thank you. What is up, guys? All right, so we've got fuel. Now it's time to chill out a little bit. Apparently, it's supposed to rain soon, so I'm trying to get kind of a quick ride in. It is kind of cooling down due to the clouds and whatnot, but trying to get kind of a quick ride in because I have absolutely zero footage with which to make a video. As you've noticed, one hasn't come out in the past several days. That's because it's just been too dang hot to ride. So we need to get some footage, find some stupid drivers, or just kind of chill out. I don't know, maybe we'll have a nice chat. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the last few videos seem to be doing pretty good, and I don't know if that's up to the H2 or if that's just up to YouTube's algorithm or what, but yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you who watch and like, and really helps the channel out, so thank you for that. Makes doing YouTube a lot more rewarding, I guess you'd say, when you can actually kind of see people watching the videos and stuff. And I know there's gonna be times where all your analytics and stuff just go, you suck. But as of right now, or as of recently, it's been pretty much on an uphill climb, which is pretty awesome, honestly. So once again, thank you guys for that, all of the likes and comments, especially comments, because I love getting to respond to you guys, reply. Just the other day, somebody asked me about an intercooler for the bike, and so kind of got to talk about that for a second. But I might as well address that in this video. Intercooler. Is there an intercooler for the H2? Yes, there is. Am I going to get it? No, I am not. Why not? Cost to benefit analysis. So last time I checked, and this may have changed, but last time I checked, the intercooler for the H2 costs about $9,000. Well, the intercooler and its setup and everything costs about $9,000. Now I could be wrong, but that's what I saw last time I looked off the performance site for it. The benefit, you get a lot. You get a lot cooler air entering, which of course, colder air, denser, more power. However, the bike itself was already 31 grand plus the mods. That was another 4 to 5. So I put a decent chunk of change into the bike so far, and well, I'm not quite ready to spend that bigger chunk of change on it quite yet. So maybe in the future, but yeah, right now it's just not worth it. So where are y'all going? Oh, sorry, I should have known. Those 8 inches. Whew, you're getting there a lot quicker. Shouldn't question it. Don't question the process. Oh, boy, do I have a story to tell you guys. I just thought about this. This'll make a good video. Yep. So the dealership well, it's not a dealership, it's a shop, honestly. The shop that I took my bike to get the exhaust and the air filter installed and the first service done, they tried to get me to destroy my bike. And why and how? Well, let's get into that. So, I don't know how many of you guys who watch, work on your own bikes or anything. But I mean, I'm not a mechanic by trade, but there's a lot of basic stuff that I know how to do and will do. And one of those is coolant, right? I can check my coolant and top it off if I need to, things like that. Basic maintenance. Anywho, so I get the bike home from having its first service done and getting the exhaust and air filter installed, and I noticed, my coolant, once the bike cooled down, was below the low line, which it's not supposed to be. So anybody who knows anything about cars and the heat cycle of coolant and whatnot will know that when a bike is running, the fluid level tends to rise, right? So when I took my bike to the shop, they said they checked it, they checked off on it that they checked it, it was good. Well, let's see. I rode my bike about 2 hours there, so the bike was hot. So the coolant level had risen, and so, hey-ho, it was in between the lines, so it was good. When my bike cooled down, and the coolant, receded, it was not between the lines. So, I don't know if that's necessarily their fault. However, that's not where they tried to get me to destroy the bike. Where they tried to get me to destroy the bike was, I didn't know what type of coolant this bike used. So I looked it up online, and a couple of forum posts from several years ago said, Kawasaki Alumacool pre-dilute. I was like, all right, cool. I call up the shop because I want to double check. So I get them on the phone and I'm like, hey, what coolant does this bike use? They're like, yeah, no worries. We got this system that tells us, what things most bikes use. So they look it up and they're like, bad news. It doesn't tell us what your bike uses. And I'm like, of course it doesn't. It's an H2. You guys don't, kind of a rare specialty bike. Anywho, so it doesn't tell them what coolant my bike uses. So I asked the guy, because, okay, let's back up a little bit. There are two types of coolant, right? There's two types of coolant bases, as a matter of fact. There's ethylene glycol coolant and propylene glycol coolant. And, cars, bikes, whatever. Those coolants are great. They both, they both do their job. Things like engine ice or propylene glycol, and things like Kawasaki Alumacool, they're ethylene glycol. At the time, I did not know this, however. So I called up the shop and I'm like, hey, I don't know what coolant is in there. Can I throw in some engine ice? Is it going to be fine? It's not going to, mix back coolants, whatnot. So the service department calls up the parts department, and he comes back on a few minutes later. He's like, yeah, you should, that's fine. They said go ahead and do it. It's not going to hurt it. So I go out to where I have my coolant stocked. I have a couple of things of engine ice from a previous transaction. And lo and behold, I also find out I have some Kawasaki Alumacool pre-dilute. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to take a look at these and make sure they're the same type, just in case. So I take a look at the bottles, and Kawasaki Alumacool is ethylene glycol based. Ooh, the popo. Kawasaki Alumacool is ethylene glycol based. Engine ice is propylene glycol based. You cannot mix those, because guess what happens if you do? You create sludge in your cooling system, and you overheat your bike and potentially destroy your engine. Now this is coming from a professional shop who knows how to work on motorcycles, telling their customers the wrong information. So I call up, I become a Kyle, and I call up and I'm like, hey, let me speak to your manager. Because this should not be a thing you're telling people. So I get on the phone with quote-unquote manager, and he's like, yeah, we should know better. We shouldn't be telling people that. I will find out who told you that, and I will pull the team together and I will talk to them about this, because that is not something they should be telling people. So, anywho, Don't know if anything came of that. He might have just been, you know, doing the manager thing and appease the customer, blah, blah, blah. So, anywho, I get off the phone, and I'm like, all right, at this point, I know Alumacool and engine ice cannot be mixed, so I'm not going to throw, you know, engine ice in my bike. But I still don't know what is in my bike, because I have, you know, an owner's manual. I don't have a like a service manual, right? And so, you know, at this point, I'm like, what do I do? The only thing I can do, because obviously my coolant tank is clear, so I take some of the Alumacool, I throw it in a plastic cup, and I'm like, all right, we'll do a color comparison. And I know most of you are probably like, that's a horrible idea, because it could still be the wrong stuff. I'm like, I get that, yes. So I do a color comparison, and it matches, you know, down to a T. It's perfect. And I'm like, all right, at this point, I have two options. Either I risk my bike overheating and take it somewhere that can get it serviced, or I throw in Kawasaki Alumacool, like the forums say, and I just say YOLO. Well, I chose the YOLO option, and it wound up being the right stuff. So, long story short, had to fill my coolant, didn't know which coolant to use. Shop told me to use the wrong one to destroy my bike. I did not use the wrong one, and my bike still runs. Woohoo. But yeah, this comes from a professional shop, and stuff like that just, oh, it grinds my gears. I hate every bit of that. Like, you should know better. They're both on their phones. Good grief.